Oh, cool.
I've been so excited to speak to you, sweetheart. How are you? You've had a week, haven't you?
Yes, yes. I'll tell you, I was so excited to talk to you earlier in the week. And then I was like, we all felt like if we didn't leave for DC right then, we wouldn't get in. And that ended up being pretty much true.
Yeah, but I think it was meant to be. We're meant to speak today. You know,
I have to tell you, we are being gaslighted like nobody's business right now. What happened at the Capitol is basically the opposite of what really happened.
Yeah.
It was 2 days of just pure love, pure camaraderie. Really, it wasn't even about Trump. It was about America. It was about it was about our votes mattering, our country mattering to us. It was about, you know, all these years of having our borders, language, culture spit upon, and people saying, no, we love our country. And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you anything but a patriotic, you know, American or whatever you are. Yeah. Loving your country is a good thing. And that's what it was about. You know, and it was great. And they, I believe that was planned, what happened at the Capitol building.
Yeah,
I believe it was planned by them, you know, to distract.
By the cabal.
The cabal. Well, they're running everything, in my opinion.
Yeah. Military operations in the background, though, anyway.
Yeah.
Undercover operations that were happening, even with the people who broke in. There's rumors that they are the good guys. Both. Yeah, both good and bad. So there's been a combination of both. So to go and get the laptops of Nancy Pelosi and all the Democratic Party. I mean, there's all of that circus going on. So sorry.
No. That's absolutely true, because a lot of things have been happening that are good in the meantime, and it's like a giant distraction. Plus, something that I came upon that I wasn't really reported was on the 5th, Trump put out a declaration against Antifa, saying that they would be considered enemy combatants and foreign enemies, because Antifa, now we can trace the money back to Soros, but it actually goes back to Soros and the City of London, which is being, I don't mean London, I mean the City of London, which is the bank, but it's going back to them too. And the point is that he preempted this. He knew it was going to happen. And then there's plenty of video of the Capitol Police opening up the gates, and even Capitol Police walking them through the building to where the people were. So all of this appears to be, to me, a distraction. And I think that the Antifa riots were absolutely planned. People saw the buses coming in. These people get paid. But I think that it was infiltrated, as you said, by the military, and they grabbed what they needed to grab. Yeah. But I believe they know everything, and I still.
That's what I bring it back to, that if the declassification of information, Mel, and the military having everything, they have it all, they have all the information. The NSA, sorry. I'm just, literally, I've been on such a buzz over the last few days. And, when you said that, you just kind of must have felt a little bit of a lull, because it's exhausting, the energy that is exhausting.
But then also watching it portrayed in our disgusting mainstream media and by the Democrats is so disgusting after what we dealt with last summer, the riots and the violence. This was not that. This was a very isolated incident that was purposefully caught on camera to incite, to go along with the Democrats' storyline. And we're seeing who are traitors. Now, my opinion is also that Mike Pence had to do the vote because the crime had to be committed. The crime is treason.
But every single people need to be shown.
Right. But I mean, even bigger than that, in my opinion, is why are people okay with a crime?
Yeah.
Because they hate Donald Trump so much? No,
this is it.
Lied to. Yeah.
But this is how they've been programmed over 4 years. It's not just an overnight thing that, you know, the orange man who's just a buffoon on the public arena, and he's just a dictator. And really, you know, over the last few years, look how the economy has thrived, and people are not looking at the real issues, but they just want to go into blame culture and victimization mindsets. And because they've been so programmed and poisoned over these 4 years, it's so easy to blame Trump. And the media, like you rightfully said, is our biggest enemy right now. And this, you know, somewhere, what I was saying about the NSA, they've got it all, and you're saying this is all playing out like it should be.
Exactly.
And yeah, so it's a pantomime, it's a real circus. So, you know, we're all sort of at different episodes at the moment. It's a bit like that Jack Bauer's 24, you know, dude, you know, we're just anticipating what next, because we're watching the story unfold. But talk to me about this gaslighting, because I find that is happening here in the UK, because it's the sort of remnants of what's happening in the US. It's causing a lot of division in society, a lot, and a lot of very distinctive division. And you know, people are seething, and hatred, the hatred that they have for Trump is horrible. It's got back to what it was like during the first elections.
Yeah, it's insanity, mainly because the criminal isn't Trump. The criminal are the guy that they're behind here. Biden is a major criminal and has been for decades, involved in money laundering. Right now, he's a criminal defendant in a case where $700 million of taxpayer money in the Ukraine was laundered back to him, his brother, and his son. And yet they're all standing behind him like this is their choice. This is their choice, and they're proud of this choice. And on top of that, the whole Trump thing with the gaslighting, it's just like, you know, what they do is they invert everything. Suddenly, like they're calling what happened at the Capitol, like the worst infringement on our government. Well, our Capitol was breached during Black Lives Matter. They burnt down a church next door, and MSNBC and CNN and them are cheering them on. So now it's the opposite. Also, you know, the censorship is terrifying. And, you know, maybe it was only us in the beginning when I got originally purged most of my stuff on YouTube, and Charlie and everyone in the original purge. You know, I think people were just like, if you weren't affected, oh, well. But the truth is everyone's affected. If they can do it to President Trump, they can do it to anyone. And they're proving it. I mean, this Zuckerberg comes out with this statement about how Trump ruined the country. We have 200 CEOs coming out and saying Trump must go, all this stuff. And you think, well, what are you talking? Like, what, define what he did that was created this level of hatred and animosity. And I tell you, it's all been an elaborate PR scheme to point the finger in the wrong direction, because the goal of this whole thing about Trump is truly more about their crimes, you know, and because if Biden gets in, what happens? All the cases, all the investigations, Clinton Foundation, Haiti, Libya, Benghazi, 9/11, all of these investigations, Epstein Island, the biggest of them all, will go away. They will go away. And somehow the people, well, I believe probably 30 million people max voted for Biden. But the people that are championing now and are pushing for them to get rid of Trump right away, they're only worried about themselves. We, the people of our countries, do not matter to them at all. This is about them covering up their crimes by destroying our lives. And this entire COVID, now that I can trace it back, the whole thing from the beginning to right now was about right now. You know, they plotted.
Used as a bioweapon. It was used.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Bioweapon, psychological warfare to humanity. It's awful, and it's absolutely awful. And it's
still going on. What the heck is going on in the UK?
Oh my God! You know, we're in tier 5.
How did it become the epicenter? What is going on?
Pardon?
Crazy. They're now acting like the UK is the epicenter of this virus.
Yeah, well, the thing is that the levels of atrocities that the Zoom chat that I had with Paul Boyce before, we were speaking about this brilliant guy. He's actually really been massive in the movement here in the UK. He done a protest in Manchester where, you know, they stood up against all this tyranny, against all this COVID stuff, you know, for our freedom, etc. So he's very well recognized. And I was speaking to him today, and he said, that this everything that's going on at the moment, it's insane. But that's because the UK spiritually, and also what the UK have been responsible for in the world, it's almost like the karma for the UK, and unfortunately us as civilians are suffering. Right. But there is a lot of criminal things that will be exposed as well within our government. Our government is so infiltrated with evil and darkness, it's unreal. There have been rumours that there have been 684 members of parliament that are going to be arrested. I don't know how true that is, but there was all sorts of
same with us,
YouTube videos that were circulating out, Mel. So there's a lot of stuff. But when we look at it sort of simply, this is narcissism and sociopathy at its highest.
Right.
And if you've ever dealt with a narcissist in your life, which I have, they will do what they can to smear campaign you. So I've read so much. I have studied narcissism, sociopathy, and then psychopaths so much, because the kind of what they do to the psyche of the person that they're attacking, they literally kill your soul. Right. And that's their agenda. So if we put this in a universal context, what's happening globally, this level of narcissism has been slowly simmering away for years and years and years, not just since Trump has been in power, and that's why we know about it. This has been going on for hundreds of years.
Right.
And ultimately, it is to do with power, greed, money. This is all if we simplify everything now. It's crazy. Right. But what you guys are encountering there in the US is horrible. And I'm sure then at grassroots, it's affecting everybody and everybody's emotional well-being.
Yeah, I mean, that's the worst part. This is the greatest crime against humanity that has ever happened. I think even not to downplay the Holocaust, but this is basically another level of that, because why are so many people dying from the vaccine? That's another thing. That's obviously the next level. There's a lot of people out there that I've talked to that are credible, that think that the vaccine was created first, and I'm sorry, and that there is no, that their COVID is not what it seems at all. Yeah. And, I do believe that there's nanoparticles in the vaccines that should not be in the human body. And that's part of their plan. I'm one that thinks Bill Gates is the biggest criminal on this planet, if not, at the very top. The ones that really are the biggest criminals, the worst of the worst, are not known to people. To me, all roads lead back to Switzerland, even though our entire lives, I was always told Switzerland was the, where they were neutral. Like all our lives, we were told Switzerland's neutral, Switzerland's neutral. No, basically everything has been run out of Switzerland that involves the cabal. And the UN was always about a one world order. It was never about globalization in the way that you and me would hope for it to be. What I do think is happening is, I think we discussed this last time, their whole great reset, their one world order. Again, you can't separate China. China infiltrated the UN a long time ago and was promoted to the top of the one world order by Soros and Gates openly and out. And, and Eric Schmidt, all the tech billionaires love China, love communist China, Rockefeller, Rothschild, all of them. I found out that the Bank of China is actually run out of the city of London. So, we're talking about them all being together, that, this is the Bilderberg Davos people, and they almost got away with it. I do believe the white hats at this moment are in control.
Yeah, that's what I was bringing it back to. I think that this is all a show, and it's been played out because we need to show the people. They need to see this all played out, and then be able to decipher and discern themselves, and actually sort of think and critically expand their thinking and think, hang on a minute, this doesn't add up. This is crazy. And what's going on has been so nonsensical anyway, especially with the vaccines. Just going back to that, let's talk about the PCR test. I mean, we don't even know what's going on with that.
The guy who created it said that it wasn't meant for this. Of course, then he died shortly after, shockingly. Like hundreds of scientists and even the people that created, hydrochloroquine or had the patent murdered. The amount of doctors and scientists that have been murdered over this vaccine, and the whole entire scope of this has been unbelievable. And what they've done to doctors and to scientists that are legit and have been ringing the bell is nothing short of criminal as well. The whole war on hydrochloroquine was criminal. It's just, there's so many levels of, yeah, that's the hard part, the crime against humanity, and the toll. Because my firm belief is that, and I've thought this the whole time, the biggest death toll in America, I believe, from COVID is going to be suicide.
Yeah.
And certainly overdose, but suicide even more. Also, elderly people giving up. You know, they took away hope. They took away hope with every new rule and every new lockdown. They're taking away hope. And I've always been a big advocate for the mentally ill. My sister is a big psychiatrist, but for many years in LA, and I honestly believe that we have failed the mentally ill worldwide, but certainly in America on a giant scale. And, you know, that's why that pork bill that was passed in America, where $700 billion went overseas, and we have no mental hospitals. Our public rehabs are like worse than prison. And we have thousands and hundreds of thousands of homeless. And, you know, we have starving children waiting in line down the street at, you know, at the food bank, and we have the money.
Yeah. So, there shouldn't be one person, Mel, that goes to bed without eating in this world. In this world, there shouldn't be poverty. There's enough wealth and money that not one child, not one family needs to go to sleep hungry. And the state of the world through these psychopaths that have governed for years and years and years. This is it. This is it. We're coming to the end times, the end of this.
I think that was the biggest.
Yeah, the end of all this.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest point. Is right. I'm sorry, we're having a delay. No, you go ahead.
No. I was just saying that it's just, you know, it's hopefully coming to an end. Although it feels like now the real storm has arrived with what's going on with the advent of all the the circus that happened on the 6th. You know, we were very hopeful that, you know, we would get some good news, but then we always know there's always going to be twists and turns, and there's, you know, the infiltration of Antifa. Well, that was no surprise to anyone, but then the brilliance of it was that what they did behind the scenes, you know, the sting operation. So we just have to sit here and try and discern what's going on. And to be fair, I was really flaking on the 6th by about 4 o'clock in the morning here, because I was trying to listen to what was going on in Congress, and then it was just some of the things the Democrats were saying. Oh my God.
I mean, such liars,
such bad acting. Even
the lying.
I don't know his name. The guy, bald guy, sort of mixed.
Oh, they're all disgusting. I couldn't even listen to it. They're just such liars.
Yeah.
And you know the crimes that these people have committed, and getting up there on their high horse with that elitist arrogance, talking down to we the people. You know, that's where I think we are. And on a bigger level, if you were in DC, what you did see was it wasn't about Trump at all. It was about we the people, and taking care of we the people, and we're taking our country back, and our culture and our lives and our borders and our flag, and this has been done on such a high scale. People this wasn't Trump didn't incite that violence. They did. They incited it. I'm telling you, that bill that they were going to pass, well, that they did pass with COVID, was a trigger point for a lot of American patriots, because it was just perfectly clear that any suffering going on in America would have an easy solution and be able to be paid for if they cared at all about us. And they don't. And that's why, you know, people say, who are the puppet masters? I'm always going to say all roads lead back to the UN. The one world order. They have all the money. They're the billionaires, as we talk, Davos, the royals, and they have been, I think, I think they're more psychopaths than sociopaths, most of them, because they are willingly putting millions, hundreds of billions of people through needless suffering for their own greed and power. And for people to sit there and blame Donald Trump, who's done nothing more than shine the light on the vile corruption and money laundering of our taxpayer dollars, and all of the weapons they have used against us, mentally, emotionally, physically, in our food, in our water. None of this is an accident. This is all in their grand plan of a one world government. The whole thing, the vaccine, the COVID, This is about depopulation, and people can't do the research and then say that that's not true. It's
oh, Mel, not today, just today, and it's the same thing happened the last time we spoke. This particular person just messaged me this morning simply because of reading the Financial Times. Again, the Financial Times, you're just reading one paper, you're just reading one channel, and you think that quantifies it to be the truth and the absolute truth, because one journalist who's been told what to write because they don't have the autonomy and freedom to write what they want, because it's not become like credible journalism anymore. It's literally you do and follow our narrative. And
we're the credible journalists.
But but this is it. No. So the first thing they'll say is like, I'll say, for example, Charlie Ward, Charlie Freet, that it's Simon Parks, all these people that are actually going out there and putting that yourself and saying and relaying a narrative that doesn't align with the mainstream media. The first thing we get is what's the source and who are they? What are their credentials? What's their accreditation? This is what you're saying, the elitist arrogance. It's everywhere. And this is all started at the top. So it's just permeated, that energy is just permeated through the echelons of these academic societies, these institutions, and then you've got a breed of people that are completely imbeciles. They're complete imbeciles that have no idea what is going on. So last time we spoke, the same thing happened this morning, and it's all to do with we've placed a bet. He goes that Biden will be inaugurated. You do realize how stupid you sound. And I'm like, okay. And it's happened from two friends, but this one friend was like, Alpa, I'm going to bet you, I'm going to double our bet now. Biden's definitely going to win. I said, I'll triple it.
Yeah. This is the when people like us have to put on our extra shield of faith and belief and continue the journey now. Now's going to be the hardest time for us, because they're totally gaslighting the world through our media. And I agree with you about the journalists. Here I have many friends who still read the New York Times, and I think the paper is pure evil. It's run by evil men who are out. They are also for the one world government. It's run by Wall Street. Listen, Wall Street doesn't want the Fed gone. They don't want the regulations. They don't want transparency. They don't want any of this stuff that Trump is pushing for. I also found it very interesting that the entire Abrahamic Accords have been completely left out of the last year of talking about Trump and the media. That should be the biggest story, because that story is about undoing seriously psyoped evil to the three Abrahamic religions. Judaism, Christianity, and Muslims are really cousins. And this is such a huge, this should be the most positive, God-like miracle. But to find out that everything that happened since the beginning of Israel, when Britain did even the Balfour Declaration and all this stuff, was really a money-making scheme. These people were funding, these central bankers, both sides of everything that's gone on in the Middle East in all these years. And then their PR people at the Council of Foreign Relations, or one of their think tanks or their foundations, that's where a lot of the ugliness that we're talking about, these phony journalists, come from. They go to these think tanks or Brookings or any of these, or Rhodes Scholars or whatever. Well, they're secret societies, first of all. Second of all, they're given a ton of money to be fellows. Well, being a fellow at one of these places means you toe the line. You write the paper that they tell you to write. Bill Gates and the CCP have given plenty of money to the BBC as well, but also
I think we started on BBC.
The Rothschilds own The Economist. So who's the sources? You look at Media Matters, any of these things. All of these groups are infiltrated by the cabal. And these writers and journalists are criminals. They are doing this on purpose, knowingly a part of this. Our CIA, I now call them, because of Jason Q, communists in America, our whole CIA has been against the people this whole time, and not just our people all over the world. It's incredible what our CIA has done and gotten away with all these years. And I mean, every color revolution, what happened even in Russia and Ukraine and in Syria and Yemen. I mean, you can trace our sick and twisted CIA. I'm not saying everyone in the CIA, but I'm saying the people at the top, from George Bush Sr. on, have been slowly but surely making their way to a one world government. And, you know, the people that don't get right now that Joe Biden can never be put in, A, because he's a total criminal, and probably worse. I got some new stuff that I wish I never saw, but when you're doing what I do, you kind of have to look at it from the Hunter Biden laptop that is just truly as disgusting and repulsive as you can possibly imagine. Also, a lot more evidence is going to come out about Joe Biden's involvement with his son. Yeah. And, you know, people are still acting like, I mean, just the sheer ability to like lie and deceive with a smile and an arrogance up there the other night, like you're talking about. I had to shut it off. I can't watch those people.
Yeah, it really hit me in the last sort of 48 hours.
And the person that they're championing, they all know is a repeat offender on many levels in many crimes. The guy's run 3 times to failure. He's talked about the one world order since George H.W. Bush tried to assassinate, you know, took over after they tried to assassinate Reagan, talking about the points, 1,000 points of light and all this. It's like, to not understand what we're dealing with is to not want to understand what we're dealing with.
Yeah, some people are so far gone. Mel, it's actually quite alarming. It's worrying as well to see, like, oh my God, you're actually good people.
I know. Or that we thought that these people that went to Harvard and MIT and Stanford and were somehow better, smarter, whatever than everyone else. No, they were put there. They were put there on purpose, most of them.
The bots that have been churned out of there, though, this is exactly what they wanted to sort of subliminally, without them knowing, to carry on this level of arrogance that's just then infiltrated society.
Right. It was always
division. It's this huge division right now. It's so apparent here in the UK, especially with the lockdown. People are going crazy. We're going to be locked down till March.
I don't understand what is going on there. I have to believe that it's not what it seems at all, because
there's definitely something really brewing behind the scenes. Yeah. I can't accept that there's going to be a lockdown till the end of March. It's there till the 15th of February for sure, but we won't know anything really. All roads have to be lead to America at the moment, because we need to follow what's going on there. And once the inauguration takes place, or what happens after the 20th, a lot of things I think will be unraveled here in the UK as well. I think this is all systematic. Yeah, you know, everything's happening in an order. So this is how tired I am at the moment, because this last 48 hours have been insane.
I didn't even think yesterday. I just kept being like, I can't think.
Yeah, I've been on a 7-day juice detox. I've been on a 7-day juice detox over there.
Oh, good for you. I've done that before. Do you feel great?
Well, today I'm sort of feeling it, you know, in terms of the energies. Yeah. Right. When you're hit with this energy, because there's a lot of, this is it now, right? With what happened on the 6th.
Yeah.
You know, of course, so when you said, you know, I'm absolutely ambushed, of course I understand, because going there, the energy, traveling there, the energy that you must have felt and coming back, it's a lot. And then you were talking about this, we're fighting all the time, Mel. But sometimes I just feel a little bit delirious. And also, I am feeling, as much as we're strong and we've got to all pat ourselves on the back, all the truth is, every single person, whether you're doing a Zoom show or you're out there on Facebook or you're just staying in your light, you have to stay strong. But it's exhausting for all of us as well.
Yeah. And the shift is coming too. That's why that's great that you did your fast this week. I'm sure you knew that, because everyone needs to be open right now to that energy, that extra special energy that's coming. I truly, in my mind, believe that this is, if you had followed, I think you did, but I followed those boards that we're not allowed to mention for the entire time. And to me, this is drop 4414. If anyone that's watching wants to go check it out, that's where I think we are right now. And we had a test here yesterday for the emergency broadcast system in New York City. And then a friend of mine in LA said that they had one too. And then the FCC put out a memorandum to all cable providers that they have to follow FCC rules in the case of an emergency. Yeah. So I think we're gearing up for the actual D class and to see it, because that's what it's going to take. They're talking about Trump resigning, but don't forget, Trump right now works for the corporation of the United States of America. Most people, like we've said, don't know that. They, you know, our Constitution was hijacked in the Act of 1871, and we've still been run this whole time by the City of London, not London, but the royals, basically, because we've been debt slaves in America, all over the world. Everywhere there's a central bank, there's a footprint of this great reset, one world order. This was always the goal. And, you know, these people championing Joe Biden in Congress and the Senate, they know that. That's the worst part. They know that. They know that the next goal, once Joe Biden goes in, quickly he'll be replaced by this deep state swamp creature, Kamala. And before you know it, the UN will be running our cities here with their, you know, their troops that they've been, you know, gathering. We will have complete lawlessness. They'll open up our borders, and then they'll declare North America one nation state. And before you know it, we're on our way to the one world order, and it's just not going to be allowed to happen. That's why people can say what they want, but knowing that right. Well, here's also.
So that's what I want to find out about the insurrection.
Yeah, because he hasn't used the executive order from 2018 about foreign election interference.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, you know, and there's got to be a reason, because he can at any time. What people also don't understand is that the corporation of the United States of America was basically taken over by the Treasury in February during the emergency. Also, many people don't know that the war on terror was never ended. So Trump has an amazing amount of power that he hasn't used. As they call him, a dictator and a racist and all this. He's been a wartime president the entire time, you know, and he's never overstepped. And the truth is, he's letting it happen to a certain extent. But I believe it'll fully be proven that what happened at the Capitol was not just Antifa and orchestrated, but that it was orchestrated from the inside. And, you know, all of that. But we are really at the precipice of good versus evil. And it's never been more apparent to me. I firmly believe that God wins, and we are on track, and the plan is the plan, and the plan is going to be executed as told. Because all you have to do is look at it backwards. Everything on that board has come true. And really beautifully executed. You know, the hard part is watching, you know, people that are just blatantly deceiving and lying, and then so many people.
It starts with the military, didn't it? This whole operation started and ended in 2017. Started with the military, and this is where it's going to go. It's going to end with the military. So this is where, you know, my knowledge is pretty slim, but I'm sort of depicting that it's going towards the Insurrection Act, and then the the executive orders are all going to be made, especially the one of 2018, because this has actually killed all birds with one stone because of the foreign interference that, you know, we have to
foreign interference again to such an extreme level that one must ask, why would all these governments want him out so badly? Why? To cover their own crimes. This has nothing to do with humanity. It has nothing to do with me or you. It's got nothing to do with any human being on this planet. This has to do with preserving this billionaire class, elitist, you know, cabal, the satanic cabal, the royals, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, these people that have decided that they're God. They are God. And, you know, the CCP, basically the Communist Chinese Party, demands that you treat them as they are God. And that's what they want here. And the stupidest part about all of it is all of our governments that have ceded their power to the one world government, especially with the CCP running it so much, don't realize that they're the last to go. They'll have no loyalty to the Communist Party of China or Soros and the Bilderberg class. You think they'd have 1 second of loyalty to any of these congressmen or senators that are compromised and now fighting for Joe Biden to usher in the one world government? No way. It's just like everything else. They're disposable too. They're useful idiots. And to watch them go out there and try, I mean, whoever thought that we'd end up feeling so much, I would feel, but I think massive amounts of people all over the world feel so much compassion for Trump. The answers are one thing, but the people that are watching what they've put this one man through with no real evidence of any crime. If they had anything on him, this would have been
a big shit show globally.
But they knew. I also believe that this started way, way, way before Trump, because I think
of course, this is going back, back to JFK.
Exactly.
And that what he intended to do. He advertised it himself. He wanted to splinter the CIA into pieces, his famous quote. So this has been an undercover military operation that goes even before him.
Right. Well, it was also, people have to remember that not only did he want to split up the CIA into 1,000,000 pieces or 1,000 pieces, but also he wanted to kick the Fed and the central bank out of America.
Yeah.
A lot of this, that's why, from the beginning of the boards and the drops, it's been about P and Y and the Rothschild, Soros, the former prince of Saudi, the evil prince of Saudi Arabia that was taken out early in the game.
Yeah.
This has been much bigger, but honestly, it's fully about greed and
the children, what they've been doing with the children. I mean, Al-Wa'id was the biggest adrenochrome.
I know.
They're the biggest distributors of adrenochrome, Saudi Arabia, so that's why he went there first.
Also, Alibaba was a big sold adrenochrome, and synthetic adrenochrome was made and patented out of that Wuhan lab where the COVID came from. And there's no such thing as synthetic adrenochrome. It's still from children, and it's freeze dried or whatever. It's disgusting. And most people, that's the thing about what we're doing now. 90% of the public have no idea what we're talking about unless they've been following it.
This is exactly it, but we have to keep saying it till we're blue in the face. Even
that's why I'm saying the crimes are unforgivable. These people truly will never be able to walk down the street. And right now we're being distracted thinking it's about an election, and it's not. This is not about an election. This is about eradicating evil, and evil that keeps reinventing itself. Rome never fell. They redisguised themselves as Nazis, and now they redisguise themselves as, unfortunately, the Democratic Party, which is basically all compromised in working for the UN one world government that a lot of people believe does not exist. And it absolutely does. And they're the puppet masters. And you know what? Like I've been saying a lot, I think that their Great Reset, the World Economic Forum, pushing it, all the leaders around the world, yours, Biden, the Build Back Better, all this stuff that they're talking about, they knew was going to happen. Because I think the plan at the UN was always about the 50-year mark and then reversing it, and depopulating to control the world will be much easier for them if they pull that off. It's my firm belief that the military will never allow Joe Biden to step one foot in the White House. Because his end goal is obviously handing it to Kamala Harris, who already handed it to Soros and Gates and all these techie guys. And I see this is where you have your cognitive dissonance hat on, and you think, how are people supporting? And it's funny, you never hear anyone saying they like Biden.
No.
They believe in Biden or any of that, except for the Democrats, the grandstanding on the floor, but not in real life. It's more just like, well, we hate Trump. You hate Trump that much that you want to cede our sovereignty. And
they don't even know why they hate him. They don't know. They don't even realize their program. This is where the distinction is in society globally. Though. It's really bad here as well. People are fed up with the lockdowns. They're actually gone back into fear porn and gone crazy after what happened on the 6th, saying, you're gone crazy now. You sort of look at what's happening here in the UK. There's another strain of the virus out, and that's why there's tough measures, this lockdown. And it's just gone back. People that were starting to come around, it's just been a complete collapse.
Right. But then also a lot of on our end, there was a lot of I got tears. I got people that were like, Mel, I mean, they did it. They won. It's over. It's over. And I'm saying, no, it's not over. Please.
Far from over.
Keep your faith, because crimes that have yet to be exposed will never, ever be able to be explained away. And
look at what Linwood did. Look at what Linwood did this all of last week. That's huge. I know it's only on Twitter, but it's been massive. Linwood posts, and now he's been deplatformed.
I know.
And Trump.
Such a hero. Yeah, Trump. How dare. But I've thought this whole time, why is Zuckerberg coming out 2 weeks before the election and telling us it's going to take a while to count? Listen, a lot of the COVID had to do with mail-in voting. And look, there's just such massive fraud, and our media and our Democrats and our liberal friends They just say there's none. And then the whole thing that came out about the Leonardo satellite and Renzi and Obama, which I knew about it for a long time. Just this week, it's actually confirmed what we all knew about the Seth Rich murder and who was involved. And then it goes all the way up to Rosenstein and Pence. And, you know, everything's being exposed, but if you don't look for it, you're not going to know that. And that's why people like us are out there actually saying it. And people, this is going to be, I think, the hardest time for people like me and you and, you know, Catherine and Charlie and Nick, because right now people are looking and they're saying, see, it's over. It's over. And I'm saying, right. I'm saying it's only just begun, because people were saying that Trump's speech was him conceding.
This is very important, right? Look at how they're reading this and interpreting his message. It's far from over. We can so clearly see what he's saying, but everyone, and it is that message that where everyone's like, you know, give up now. This is ridiculous. Now we have some kind of normalcy. It's not going back to any form of normalcy. Whatever you think that, you know.
There is no normalcy anymore, but it's not in the way that the globalists planned. It's not the Great Reset. What is actually going to happen is they're all the, you know, they write on the World Economic Forum, the CFR website, the UN website, all their websites, the Lucis Trust, they write in flowery language about a globalist world, globalist government. And the truth is, this is going to be a globalist world, the opposite of what they want. What they want is depopulation, one world control. Even the guy running the UN right now came out the other day and said the only way to solve this crisis is a one world government. I mean, not even hiding it. And you know, any proud patriot of any country can look at that and just say, what? Wait, what? No. The one guy that actually, in my opinion, has really pushed against this is Putin. You know, our country was pointing at Putin, trying to force a war with somebody who wasn't really concerned with us all this time. How disingenuous of our media and our democratic politicians, because the entire time they knew it was China and they were covering for China, pointing at Russia. Well, Putin's been the one who said he's going to wait to see how it plays out in America before he gives, you know, anything. And he said in a statement the other day, the American people love Donald Trump, even if the politicians and media do not, and that he doesn't see Trump going anywhere. And, you know, Putin's been involved the whole time with the trafficking sting that's been worldwide all this time. And I saw that and I thought, okay, that was one good sign to me, because he basically said Trump's going nowhere without really saying it. And there's other people, but a lot of traitors have been exposed, which is good news, because that had to happen. Like I said, I think that not only was that a setup at the Capitol, but they had to let them all vote. They had to let him do it. As much as I wanted Pence to pull the card, which he could have, by the way.
But did you see what Linwood accused Pence of? Child molestation. This is big allegations.
I know.
And this is big. He's the US biggest attorney, and this is massive what he's been posting. And again, you know, we've got to get over the fact that it's on Twitter, it's a Twitter post, it's not credible information. But for us truthers, it's been massive news, and he's just bombed Twitter last week in the lead up to the 6th, and now he's been deplatformed and he's bombing Parler now. So I haven't kept up with you know, if you miss one day,
you can't miss a day.
You can't miss it. And today, because I done a really good live with Charlie Freak and Colleen yesterday, because they've been deplatformed, and it was brilliant because, you know, Charlie just gives the spiritual and what's going on, and he deciphers all the information, and he's brilliant at doing what it's very, very much like you know, you're there, and I'm trying to keep up with it all because of my limited political knowledge. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But the stuff about Pence, I mean, I do hope that we get some.
It's been around a long time about Pence. It was in the original WikiLeaks drops that he was involved in planning to get rid of Trump. Literally, it was. I mean, if you read that, I've read it many times. The chain that it came out, it's really very obvious that they were planning an assassination of some sort on Trump before he even got into office.
Those documents are available publicly, aren't they? There's documents.
All you have to do is I wouldn't use Google anymore, but go to whatever you use. I use DuckDuckGo, and you put Pence, Ryan, email exchange assassination, and it'll come up. And almost everything's out there if you look for it. For your viewers, there's the CIA vault and the FBI vault, FBIvault.gov and CIA.gov, where you can look at D-class. People aren't paying attention to it because they don't want you to. Like I said, there was that memo that came out on the 5th saying that anyone that was caught with Antifa would be treated as an enemy combatant, basically, and they would be treated as a foreign combatant because Antifa is funded by foreign money. And that came out on the 5th. What happened on the 6th? Yeah. And on top of that, I truly believe that I don't think we're getting the straight story about Julian Assange either.
No.
I think him coming to a head right now is also part of the plan and part of the big deal. You know, they fought a war, the DOJ and FBI, against Julian Assange for telling the truth.
Yeah, well, this is it. This is just criminal. All the things that have been happening within all these establishments have been atrocious, Mel. And this is the exposure. This is the bringing down. This is the fall of the cabal. This is the fall of the cabal, bringing them down in every single way. So we, the people, the global people, the world, we need to see this. It's unraveling day by day, but there's so much going on. It's like we're all in here clutching to tender hooks and thinking, oh my God, how's it going to like unravel? But you know, the uncertainty, is he going to come on board on the 20th? Is Trump going to be re-elected? It's like, you guys don't even know literally
it's not even about that. Yeah,
what's going on. You can't just surface level look at anything. It's so intricate. It's so intricate. And I do struggle, Mel, you know, in this fight, because I've said this time and time again, and to my viewers know this so much, but when you don't follow politics, and keeping up with everything, it's like, whoa, I've got to, like, who's that, who's this, who's that, what does this mean? You know, you're constantly trying to keep up, and you miss one day, and it's like, oh my God, everything sort of falls out of place. So today I've missed today, and I don't know what's happened today. I had to sort of take a break, and I thought, because I wanted to I thought I'll speak to Mel and she'll update me with everything anyway.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something that you're saying this, because I forgot to tell you this, and people should keep this in mind. Trump got rid of Barr, right? Well, the people that he replaced him with have been behind the scenes working on all of this the whole time. One is Rosen is taking over as AG. Rosen actually wrote the entire report about foreign election interference that led Trump to write the executive order about election interference, foreign election interference. The guy right under him, who is really in the power position as when it comes to the criminal side of this, he was the guy who tried El Chapo, Huawei, and Nexium. So these two guys that just took over the DOJ have been working on these cases the whole time, because as we know, El Chapo, Nexium, and Huawei are all connected in one way or another to the entire Epstein cabal case. So, and the child trafficking, human trafficking, and crimes against humanity. And so these guys have been working on this the whole time. They know everything. Then you put into the mix Linwood and Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani aren't going out in their 70s or 60s and 70s as conspiracy freak losers. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so insane when they say this. It's like, they're the great, what? How can that be possible that people believe that they're just lost it and they're nuts, and that this is about Trump? You think these people are giving up their 50-year careers of fighting for justice for real, for Trump? No, it's because they know the truth. And once you know the truth, you can't not fight. And that's where we are.
You can't undo this. Once you sort of get awakened, once you completely get awakened, you cannot turn back, Mel, at all.
And there's been a lot of moves like that. You can see Pompeo still, you know, a lot of this stuff is
I like them.
Towards, you know, Sudan and Israel just decided, like, okay, good, it's over. We have a moving forward platform. All that's happened in the Middle East that's positive for the world is being ignored. And, you know, weird enough is during the when the riot was happening, which was so, it was honestly, people didn't know that it was happening because everyone was somewhere else. So to even say that it was like the level to which they're showing on TV is totally bogus. But a weird thing happened. Mnuchin in the middle. Did I mention this already? That Mnuchin in the middle, he doesn't tweet that much. He tweeted that he was on his way to Israel for very important meetings.
Right.
And remember, Pence was supposed to go to Israel, and then he canceled his trip. So that was weird. I thought, oh, Mnuchin's kind of pointing people to the Middle East and being like, that's what really matters, you know, not this. This isn't what really matters. And then on top of that, the spiritual aspect of all this is I've never felt this heavily influenced by, you know, positive and negative spirituality. And I think a lot of people don't know what to make of that too. That's why when we talk about it, because you're a very spiritual person, and
that's where I sort of like, that's where my kind of compass is. So
right.
That's why I really enjoy speaking to you, because, you know, you really fill in the gaps with so many things just from a factual point of view. And that's really important. And the feedback that we got for our last show was phenomenal. It actually was one of the best shows on my channel. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, it was.
Well, like, you know, do it every week. And now that we can have a regular schedule, now that we don't have to go running around, I honestly believe that that we're in a good place.
Yeah.
I need your viewers to understand right now it's hard, but, you know, put on your armor of God, as they say, because, you know, I believe that this is, they're testing the emergency broadcast system for a reason.
That's what I wanted to ask you before we go. So there's two things, just while you're speaking about all these things that were going on in the Middle East, there's this huge growing animosity, well, not growing, one of the biggest things against Trump from the Muslim community is what's been happening in Syria and Palestine. And this is the argument that I always get stunted on, you know, like what's happened there. I mean, he didn't obviously create all these wars, and this is what they're not seeing, but it's Iran, Palestine, Syria, and Yemen. It's just blaming Trump for all of that.
It's so insane. It's so insane. No, all those wars are by the same people. It's the banking cabal that is the hidden hand behind everything that is going on, that is destroying this planet. This is nothing to do with Trump. First of all, the military industrial complex is not the military that's working with Trump. They are the money. They are the people putting out the statements and everything. They all got big contractor jobs. They're all in think tanks. They're in the Trilateral Commission, the CFR. These people need endless wars, okay, to keep power, to keep money, to keep the people in line. These things that are going on, Trump wanted us out of Syria, out of Afghanistan, out of all wars. Well, they pushed back and vetoed him pulling our troops home. Yep. My brother-in-law just came back after a year in Kuwait. And I'll tell you right now that the everything that they're blaming Trump for, like even the Palestinians, all this stuff, this is nothing to do with Trump. This is the military industrial complex of the world needing endless war. They don't care how many humans suffer. This is not how these people think. It's about money. It's about deals like Halliburton, which was at the end of the day, the Iraq war, which was a phony war. Again, also a money-making scheme. They cannot let these wars end. And that's another reason they want Trump out. And if you look at who Biden's saying he's putting back in the worst of the worst. And the truth about the Iran deal that people need to wake up and realize is that $400 million in cash plus the extra billion, it didn't go to Iran, it went to Switzerland. And they changed the money in Switzerland and sent it back around. Yeah, so that money went to Switzerland, which is the central bank, which is the Bank of International Settlements, where the Octagon Group basically runs the world out of there, the nefarious group that they are. And they run all the central banks out of there. And basically, then that money was transferred into different places. And I believe that we're going to find out that that money not only went to Iran Black Ops, sure, but a lot of that money went to this entire election fraud, international election fraud.
Yeah, and this is why these sanctions were imposed to Iran a few years back. So this has all been known. So this is it. It's all kind of piecing together. Everything's really piecing together. We just have to align all the dots. But about the emergency broadcast, what are your thoughts there? Because there's rumors, everyone's saying get signal. You know, this is
we got one in New York. We got one across the bottom of our TVs. So
when, today?
No, yesterday.
Yesterday. What happened? So you couldn't.
I know that a friend in LA got it too. So basically at this point, I think we're getting ready for, there was a drop at one point that said Friday and Saturday will bring MAGA full circle. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about this Friday and Saturday. But
a complete blackout of all media.
Well, I think, yeah, pretty much. I think it's going to be a blackout to a public broadcasting situation. You know, I told you too, the FCC put out a warning yesterday to all private cable companies that they have to obey the FCC orders when it comes to emergency system. And everything on the board, in my opinion, has worked out exactly as planned. So that would be where we are now.
Happening.
I know. So I think we're there. And when people talk about Trump resigning, well, he's not the president of the United States. He's president of a corrupt corporation called the United States of America Corporation. That is honestly a hijacking of not just our rights and our freedoms and our Constitution, but they're all in on it. Congress, Senate, everyone in DC knows what they are. They are a high-level mafia-style shakedown business, and they have been deceiving the public. And I encourage all of your viewers to go look up the Act of 1871, put that together with the City of London, which is not the City of London, put that together with the Vatican. What do they all have in common? And then on top of that, put that with the UN. So it's the three of them and the UN, but what they all have in common is they have had total autonomy. They have not been allowed to audit, to investigate, to open their books until Trump. So if nothing else, you put together that whole cabal, and there you are. And that's where we're at. And I assure you, from the bottom of my heart, I believe, and I believe God won. And I think General Flynn and his people have been biding time behind the scenes, but
there's something definitely going on.
Hit the edge. So I'm gonna have to pop off.
Yeah. No, I just quickly, just before you go, did you notice Trump's silver hair yesterday?
I know.
Yesterday on the 6th, sorry.
But no, it was that was so obviously filmed a long time ago. That's why I think that.
No, the gold hair, that was the speech that he did yesterday.
The silver hair.
The silver hair was on the 6th.
Right.
That was a live.
Right.
And you've got to see when it finished, the broadcast finished on TV at 11 minutes past 1. His solo broadcast was 1:01. There's a lot of comms there.
Right.
There's a lot. It's all, anyway, I know you need to go, but yeah, there's just so much going on. Same time next week.
Yes, I'll see you next week. Hang in there. If something happens before, maybe I'll jump on. But I'll definitely tell you if our broadcast is so good.
Yeah. All right.
Your energy is such a gift from God. To hang in there. It's all going to be.
Thank you, sweetheart. You're amazing.
Love you. I'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.